So welcome to the William Hill FWA podcast. I'm joined today by Simon Peach of the Press Association. He's their England expert, covers England. He'll be watching that game against Colombia coming up. That's it's make or break. We've just been watching Spain go out of the tournament. What other surprises can we get?
I know. I mean, to be fair, my heart was racing through my chest watching that penalty shootout. So it doesn't bode well if England do come down to that. I mean, it's a huge match. It's hard to believe that we could all be packing up on Wednesday.
But as they've just shown in there, you know, Spain had a 100% record of penalties. Russia hadn't been in a shootout, and yet Russia triumphed. Spain looked like the novices, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. I was hearing some Spanish colleagues saying that David De Gea doesn't have the isn't thought of that highly in Spain, which is hard to believe for anyone that watches English football with any regularity. But he didn't look like he was getting near any of them, did he? And Russia kept composed. And how hard must it be? It was pouring with rain, and you've got 80,000 people and a whole nation and Vladimir Putin somewhere willing you on.
And Akin Fayev absolutely produced the goods, didn't he? He'll be the hero of Russia today.
Yeah, often he's a kind of the butt of many jokes because he's got such a poor Champions League record at keeping clean sheets. But he's a fine goalkeeper, and he kept his nerve. And I mean, that save at the end was quite acrobatic, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, obviously, this does open up this side of the draw as well for England. So if they can progress past Colombia and then Sweden and Switzerland, it's a big if. But it could then it could be then Russia, couldn't it?
I mean, as an England fan, that's the kind of result you'd all want. You don't want the big teams to be going through. So obviously, I think we'd all want Croatia to go out to Denmark, but it's a big hurdle, Colombia. I think some people are underestimating them. Even if they don't have James Rodriguez, Quintero's on great form, Falcao. They've got two fantastic centre-backs in Mina and Davinson Sanchez. So, yeah, it's going to be a really hard ask, but you couldn't ask for a better half of the draw.
And I mean, the drama keeps unfolding. We saw it last night. We saw Argentina go out. We saw Portugal go out. Messi's gone. Ronaldo's gone. Iniesta's now gone. All these big names are dropping by the wayside. It's a World Cup of surprises, isn't it?
It is, and it's a World Cup for you to create your own legacy. I mean, look at Kylian Mbappe and what a wonderful game he had against Argentina. And Harry Kane, I know he's only played 2 games, but he scored 5 goals, and that's an incredible turnaround. An incredible record. So I think everyone will be willing him on in this big game against Colombia.
And obviously, for England's point of view, the Belgium was a chance to rest players. Now they'll all be coming back. Can you see any changes? Maybe, possibly Danny Rose coming in, or any other changes in that side?
I mean, Danny Rose is probably the one that I'd make, just because he is an out and out fullback, and I like his pace, I like his directness, and he's been able to blow away the cobwebs against Belgium. Although Ashley Young's done a good job. I mean, I think it's going to be basically the side that faced Tunisia, and why wouldn't it be in? What better time for Raheem Sterling to end his England goal drought than to see off Colombia?
And of course, if England get past Colombia, we've got Sweden, Switzerland. That, you know, on paper doesn't look too tough opposition, but it's as I said, in this World Cup, anything can happen, can't it?
Yeah, and I mean, look. So I heard somebody saying that England have a superiority complex and an inferiority complex, which is true because we're all worried about beating Colombia, but then all thinking we're going to beat Switzerland or Sweden. It's fascinatingly poised, but anyone that was in Nice or was watching the game in Nice 2 years ago knows that England are capable of anything, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does feel like England's best chance in a generation, probably, to go deep into a competition, but we cannot afford to take Colombia lightly.
Yeah, it's the old cliche, isn't it? One game at a time. We've got to think like that as well. But Brazil still the outright favourites, clear favourites, and they're just showing glimpses in games that, if it all comes together, they'll be very hard to beat.
It's glimpses, but when they click into gear, I mean, not many sides that go on deep and go on to win the tournaments tend to start flying out the blocks, and those that do tend to taper off. I mean, Coutinho's been brilliant. Neymar hasn't reached the heights that we all know he can. Obviously, he's come back from that injury, which I think some people have forgotten. But they have the individual quality and the collective nous under a very, very good coach to go all the way.
And France, another team that started slowly, didn't impress massively in the group stages, but last night against Argentina, they looked tremendous, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, their strength and depth's remarkable. They've got some outstanding players. Mbappe announced himself to the world yesterday. I mean, I know Giroud has he isn't overwhelmingly popular in France, but he does a job and he brings other people into play. Pogba, I thought, looked good. His range of passing was excellent yesterday on the whole, and they've got people that like Pavard, I don't think many people had heard of before this tournament, but I mean that goal, I think that's my favourite of the tournament, and he's a good player. I wouldn't be surprised if we open up the papers tomorrow and see him linked to a few English clubs.
Yeah. And of course Russia. I mean, who can discount them after that performance today? I mean, it wasn't the best performance in terms of possession and goal chances, but they got through. They found a way of getting through, and the host nation can always get to the final stages, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories written at the start of the tournament by the local press as much as anyone that this was going to be a horror show for Russia, but they've surprised everyone, haven't they? They've got some very talented players. Golovin looks fantastic. Mario Fernandes, the naturalised Brazilian, is a fine right back. Zuba, who everyone kind of just pigeonholed as a big lump up front, has been doing the job. And yeah, I mean, they dug so deep that game. I was willing them on because they just stuck back. They stuck to their positions. And they say defending is dying up, but they showed that they really can dig deep and frustrate sides. And Spain didn't offer. I don't understand what they were playing at. They were so passive. They didn't try and break through the lines. Didn't do anything.
So just as we finish off here, looking ahead to Colombia, England-Colombia, can you give us a prediction on what you think will happen?
I think a narrow England win.
In 90 minutes?
Yes. But I'm not very good at betting, as William Hill can attest. Yeah, it's I just feel England have it, resting the players, James Rodriguez being a doubt. Even if he does play, he won't be at full fitness. The big question for me is how our three defenders cope with the attacking midfielders trying to pick holes, and Falcao, who's a wily old fox. How are we going to cope with them? They have two fantastic centre-backs, as I alluded to, in Mina and Sanchez, but if they don't lump the ball into the box every time, if they can find a way of playing around them, then I think we'll do all right.
Fantastic. Simon, thanks for your time, and this has been your latest William Hill FWA podcast. Keep coming back for more.